Guys, welcome back to my channel. So I am back with another video. I told you guys a couple of weeks ago that if I did get any updates on Takeoff's murder, that I would definitely be following up with you guys. So I am back at it again with the back at it again, and let's get right into this video.
You, they keep coming telling me these bitches mad. What's new? All this ice around my neck got me feeling too cool. We was banging and he beat that pussy red. So whoa, middle finger out the roof.
If you guys are watching this video at the time that I'm actually putting it out, then you would have seen the newest updates. But I'm just going to kind of start a little bit about a week or two ago, just giving you guys just a general run through of all the events that happened, and then we'll get into the major updates that we found out yesterday. So in my last video, we really didn't have any information. We were basically just going off of the two videos that were posted online through TMZ, and we still really didn't have any answers. The internet was making all of these ridiculous speculations that I pretty much already proved in my last video absolutely made no sense. But moving forward, on November 11th, Takeoff's funeral was actually held in Atlanta at the State Farm Arena. Many celebrities came to show their love and gratitude. Drake spoke at the funeral. I believe Quavo spoke. Offset also spoke during his ceremony. I'll try to include some pictures right here. In the video, I know that Chloe was asked to sing a beautiful rendition for his service. There were fans literally lined down the street to show their love and support for Takeoff. So even though it was a very somber moment, I do really think that it was just beautiful to see how many people loved him and how he really impacted his fans. But following the funeral, there were also many heartfelt tributes that were being put out for Takeoff, from his little brother to Quavo putting out a statement, as you guys can see here. Offset also put out a statement. Even Cardi B wrote him something very special on Instagram. But following his funeral, we didn't really hear much in regards to the investigation itself. But this was to be expected because investigators don't normally give updates on ongoing murder cases until they have actually built their case. However, Takeoff's, I believe it was his aunt or his sister, she was just enraged. She was furious on how slow the progression of this case was going, and she pinned this message right here on her timeline, basically calling for justice for her nephew. So in the weeks following the funeral and the service, there were lots of little whispers and rumors going around the internet. I know that now that the updates have come out, that people are going to act like they didn't say that the primary suspect on the internet was no longer alive, but we're not even going to bring that up since people never like to go back and basically prove when they're wrong and admit when they're wrong. But let's just move past that. So you guys remember Yellow Hoodie from the last video. I'm going to put the picture right here. Well, the internet was suspecting that he was like prime suspect number one. I already told you guys in my last video that it just didn't make any plausible sense to me, someone with a brain, that he could have snatched this man's chain and executed him and ran off into the restaurant all in the span of 2 seconds. That just didn't make any sense to me, but you know, let the internet tell it. Everyone's a detective. Following these rumors and things that were going on, we find out that Yellow Hoodie is actually Little Cam. You guys can see the side-by-side picture here. Apparently he's like a local rapper in Houston. I'm not sure if he's from LA or if he's actually from Texas. I didn't really look that much into him. But on November 30th, 2022, you can see here in this court video that he was actually apprehended. Now, I remember when he first was apprehended, people were ecstatic. You know, they were thinking like, yes, he's the prime suspect. But something in my soul just told me that it's not going to be what people think it is. And that's actually what ended up happening. I already told you guys in the previous video that I believe anyone in that video that had a firearm is most likely going to be arrested, and that's exactly what happened in this case. When Little Cam was arrested, he was charged with, I believe it was possession of a firearm as a felon, which makes sense because he's not supposed to be carrying that weapon. And as his lawyer stated in this news clip right here, if they were going to charge him with murder, they would have charged him when they first apprehended him. So that really didn't make any sense to me, but I just knew following his arrest that it would be a matter of time before they actually found out who the suspect was. Remember, like I told you guys, they were not in a back alleyway somewhere closed off. They were downtown Houston in a giant mall, in a bowling alley. There are thousands of cameras. There's no way that anyone with a brain could have thought that the police weren't going to have more footage that we were given. But anyways, on December 2nd, the day after my birthday, Patrick Xavier Clark, I believe he goes by the name DJ Pat. He's a 33-year-old African American man, and he is being charged with the murder of Takeoff. Now, I was doing some digging and I found this New York Times article, and it states that a 33-year-old man has been arrested on a murder charge in the fatal shooting of rapper Takeoff outside a bowling alley in Houston last month, the city's police chief said Friday. Further down, it states, Houston Police Department announced in a news conference that the man, Patrick Xavier Clark, was arrested in eastern Houston on Thursday evening. Another man, Cameron Joshua, which we know as Little Cam, the guy in the yellow hoodie, 22, who was at the scene, was arrested last month and charged with unlawfully carrying a weapon. Now, the article goes more into detail. You guys can pause and read it if you want to, but it basically just says that there was more information than we were given, that the investigators came to the conclusion that Xavier was actually the shooter. But this right here was the most important quote for me. It says, investigators determined through video surveillance, cell phone footage, and other physical evidence that Mr. Clark fired the lethal shot. Now, in my opinion, the other physical evidence, I believe, is ballistic evidence. Like I told you guys in the last video, they're going to do ballistics. They're going to do trajectories. They're going to find surveillance videos. They're going to know exactly what happened once they do their investigation. Now, in the last video I posted, if you guys haven't seen, I'm going to link it in the description below for you guys, so you guys should definitely go check it out. I already stated that there was a cameras down there. So I'm not surprised that they were able to conclude that this is the primary suspect. And I believe once the trial starts and we start getting more information, we will start to see more of that surveillance footage become public. But once I found out this information, I wanted to look more into the suspect, Patrick Xavier. When this first was posted, the internet basically just was set on fire. Everyone was trying to understand how this could be possible because everyone was so fixated on the fact that they just knew it was Little Cam. And I feel like I may have been one of the only people on the internet or on YouTube that stated that I just didn't believe that that was true because it didn't make any logical sense. Like, even though he was charged for concealing a weapon as a felon, that is to be expected. I actually expected more people. I expect more people with firearms in that video to be arrested later on, but that's a totally different topic. However, Little Cam being arrested for concealing a weapon does not prove that he was the shooter. When I pulled up some articles on Patrick Xavier, I found out that he was, I believe, a prominent DJ or a promoter. They didn't really specify, but I'm just gonna guess that he's probably a DJ / promoter since his stage name is DJ Pat. But a lot of the articles have conflicting notions on what his career exactly is. But that's besides the point. The point is, both he and Little Cam are in the music circle in Houston, which I do not think is a coincidence, you know? But upon digging a little bit more into who he was and if he was even at the party, I stumbled upon this clip right here. Now, I know it's kind of hard to make out, and I'm not 100% sure if this is him, but it damn sure looks like him. And I say that because if you look right here in this picture, I'm going to actually show you a video clip. But the guy in this picture right here, when you see him, he actually turned his head to the side. And you can see he has a similar hairstyle as the guy that's in this picture that was posted by Hollywood Unlocked. Now, I didn't notice this initially because, I'm not going to lie, I really wasn't paying attention. There was so many people in the video. But when you go back to the TMZ video, the second clip that surfaced, you can see him right here in the cut. And you can see him look Migo Bands dead in his face. And if you fast forward it a little bit more, you can actually see where the guy in the hoodie and DJ Pat both look at Migo Bands in unison. They're looking at him together. Now, I don't know if they know each other, but like I said in the first video, we don't always know the relationships people have with each other. And, you know, DJ Pat could have been an associate of the guy in the hoodie. It could have been, you know, it's a family party, so you'll never really know how everyone's related, if they're play cousins, if they're real cousins, if they're, you know, if they grew up together, if they're really family, you know. So we don't really know the associations these people have with each other. But like I said in the last video, I believed it was either the guy in the white hoodie or an associate of whoever was struck, because the police are still not speaking on the altercation that we know transpired before the shooting occurred. Now, either way it goes, Xavier is the suspect, and that makes more sense, and it fits more into the narrative that I concluded in my last video. So according to court documents, I think I've posted it right here. Xavier Clark was arrested on December 1st, 7:32 p.m. And I believe he had an appearance in court either on the 3rd or the 4th. I know it was about a day or two ago. So according to news updates, he actually went to court, I believe it was a day or two ago. Apparently, when the police apprehended DJ Pat, he was attempting to flee to Mexico. They don't know this to be 100% a fact. However, they know that he applied for an expedited passport. So I'm going to play the news clip from, I believe it's 2A Houston for you guys, and I'll be right back with more commentary.
For joining us, I'm Andy Sirota. The man accused of killing Migos rapper Takeoff in downtown Houston last month faced a judge this morning. Investigators say that Patrick Xavier Clark shot the rapper in the back of the head. KPRC2's Taisha Walker joining us live from downtown Houston with more on what happened inside the courtroom. Taisha, good morning.
Andy, good morning. Clark appeared before a judge today. This was his second appearance, his arraignment, and his appearance was very brief, lasting less than 5 minutes. We want to get to video of Clark in court this morning wearing an orange jumpsuit and handcuffs as he stood beside his attorneys as they requested a bond reduction hearing. That hearing has been scheduled for next Wednesday. His attorneys say $2 million is not reasonable or comparable to other bonds of other murder suspects. Prosecutors say Clark was seen on video pointing and firing a gun toward a group of people gathered outside of a downtown bowling alley for a private party on November 1st. They say a bullet from Clark's gun killed Kershnick Ball, whose rap name is Takeoff. Investigators used a wine bottle with Clark's fingerprints to connect him to the crime. Investigators say when they arrested the 33-year-old, he had a passport and an itinerary for Mexico. Clark's attorneys did not deny that this morning.
Okay, now you guys just saw that news clip. I believe they also stated in a Revolt article that I pulled up that he had planned to go to Mexico, and also when they found him that he had a large amount of cash on him. So it's not far-fetched to believe that he was attempting to escape the country in order to basically not be apprehended. But what I found to be really interesting was at the very bottom of this ABC 13 article, it states that apparently after they looked a little bit more into Patrick Clark's background, they found that he was a suspect in a previous shooting that led to a 50-year-old man losing his life. So the article states, an eyewitness news search of criminal records uncovered Clark's connection to a February 2018 shooting at a nightclub along North Shepherd Drive. A victim in his 50s, when a customer opened opened fire inside the business, prompting security guards to fire back, police said. Clark emerged as a suspect in the case, but a Harris County grand jury found there wasn't enough evidence to indict him. Now, I looked further into this shooting because the wording in this article, I was confused in what way Patrick was involved. Now, it literally took me forever to find this news clip, but I actually pulled up a news clip, and I'm going to let you guys just hear a little bit of what the news covered on this incident. Then we'll be back more to talk about a couple of contradictions that I found in some articles that I pulled up on this incident.
It's from Northwest Houston. That is where police say a man was shot and killed at a nightclub by a security guard. Police say the man was armed and fired his gun at the club. This all happened at Club 5608. Jake, this all started with an argument?
That's what we're told right now, Sophia, and we're joined by the detective who has all the information and most of the answers that we have here.
Well, we received a call at about a little bit after 3 a.m. About a shooting that took place at this nightclub, and that some type of altercation had taken place where a customer was discharging his firearm at the building of the club, and one of the armed security guards on duty discharged his firearm back at him and struck the male. And once HFD arrived on scene, they did pronounce him deceased.
Okay, so you guys just saw that clip. Now, I found it weird that that piece of information about Patrick Clark being linked to this shooting wasn't stated in this news clip that we just saw. Now, although ABC 13, the article that they posted, did not include the fact that Patrick Clark was present during this incident, according to Click to Houston, Clark was at a club, I guess it's Club Live on North Shepherd Drive around 3 a.m. when a man was pepper sprayed by a security guard. Police say the pepper sprayed man went to his vehicle, retrieved the pistol, and shot at the guard and Clark. Both Clark and the security guard allegedly returned fire and shot the man. He was pronounced DEA at the scene.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
Now, doesn't that sound extremely similar to what transpired with Takeoff? An argument ensued, as we know. I believe a fight broke out, just kind of like in the article where they stated that the victim was pepper sprayed. In this case, we know that Migo Benz pulled his weapon, and I believe Mr. Clark, just like he allegedly did in the 2018 Club Live shooting, I believe he started firing in his direction just like he allegedly did in 2018. It just so happens that Takeoff was fatally struck in the crossfire. Now, I don't know if this is true. You know, everything I'm saying is speculation, but if what they are saying about him is true, then that makes all the more sense why he would feel as though he could do something like that and then just get away with it. Because if what they're saying is true, he had done this in the past and he got a slap on the wrist. He was able to walk away. That's why he had no regard for human life when he opened fire and not only shot two other innocent people, he killed someone that had nothing to do with any of this argument, of this altercation. And the funniest thing about it is he had nothing to do with this argument. So I'm really curious to see what we're gonna find out in regards to his motive allegedly behind this crime. But I really feel in my spirit that we're gonna hear about this fight. We're gonna hear about someone getting struck. I believe we're also gonna hear about how DJ Pat probably, caught himself defending someone, but it just sounds very similar to this article that we just pulled out, because even in that situation, that shooting had absolutely nothing to do with him. However, I feel like this definitely vindicates the fact that Quavo did not start this altercation and that Migo Benz did not shoot Takeoff by accident. Now, nonetheless, there are still some questions that are lingering for me. My first question is, will other people in the video that had concealed weapons also be charged? My second question, what caused this shooting in the first place? Because I'm just not going to believe that it was just over a dice game. And lastly, if Xavier is suspected of unaliving Takeoff, do ballistics show that he fired both the torso and the other shot, or does it just show that he fired the fatal shot? Because the documentation that has been made public on his arrest states that he, quote, is just legally responsible for the shooting. So that doesn't really specify if he is responsible for both the shots or just the fatal shot that ultimately took his life. And my last question is, although this may sound kind of ridiculous, I want to know, did he mean to shoot Takeoff, or was he kind of just collateral damage in a situation that just escalated? Simply like a disregard for human life in general, but we'll have to wait and see if those questions are answered. Now, if you guys have any other questions, be sure to post them in the comments. Just like in my last video, if I get any updates, I will definitely come back to you guys. If there's something I missed in my video, please be sure to comment down below, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye.
Gang shit, taking over Snapchat, a whole lot of gang shit. Where we at, set?
Yeah, oh shit. Yeah, we in Iceland, you know what I mean?
You can do better, never settle. Keep a Beretta, consider pressure. I take the plug, mail 'em, which way? That way. Tell 'em. Hey.